Hey there, welcome back to Reddit Dating, the best channel for Reddit cheating stories. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more stories like these. Now, let's get into the video. Faithless ex-wife tries to reconnect 2 years after divorce. It had been more than 3 years since I had spoken to my ex-wife. She contacted me last week and asked to chat with me. We had a 1-hour phone call, and that conversation effectively ended this terrible, miserable relationship. This is my tale. I discovered this topic a few weeks ago and have been reading it religiously ever since. Reading the outpourings of so many shattered hearts has made me sad. I'm sorry to admit that it has also provided some solace in knowing that I am not alone in my circumstance. I hadn't posted previously because I don't know what comfort or counsel I can give after my own marriage failed so badly. But after talking with my ex last week, I realized there are so many parallels in all of our tales. A succession of checkboxes, practically all of which are marked as checked. That is what motivated me to write this. We met in Tennessee. I was 22, and she was 27 at the time. She was in her final year of nursing school, and I was finishing off my military service. For extra money, we were both working as delivery drivers at a local pizza parlor. We hit it off and became friends, which turned into much more after a great party one night. She did, in fact, pursue me, but I was drawn to her and more than willing to reciprocate. When my military service was over, I took her out to a lovely supper and proposed to her. I had fallen madly in love with her by that point. Our first year as a married couple was fantastic. I got along well with her family, and she was well liked by mine. Almost everything we did together. Then, in the second year, things began to alter. I was working full-time and attending night school to pursue a degree in civil engineering. I attempted to make our time together unique and romantic. Nothing, however, changed the reality that there was a lot less of it. I could sense her withdrawing and losing interest in me. As a result, I dropped out of school. I made the decision that my marriage was more essential, and I persuaded myself that I could always return later. Things didn't get much better. I had discovered something about her. She is like a child who rapidly becomes tired of her toys. She becomes tired of it and moves on to a new toy. I attempted to keep her interested and things intriguing. Gifts, vacations, and many forms of romantic bonding. It was like trying to save a drowning ship. She didn't give much in the way of assistance or encouragement. When you're trying to save a relationship on your own, it's exhausting. After that, the cheating began. This is something you're all aware of. She ticked the boxes. She is fiercely protective of her phone and laptop. Absences from home are becoming more frequent. A complete abstinence from intimacy. Her affection was vanished, and even my hugs and kisses were met with coldness. This has been mentioned numerous times in previous entries on this site. Cheaters, it's as if they don't want to cheat on their AP with their spouse. I knew what was going on, and I was determined to capture her. We were in a false state, but she did a good job of covering her traces. I couldn't back it up. I believe she noticed I was leaving the marriage. All of my attempts to initiate intimacy, or even converse to her, came to a halt. She then tearfully admitted to having an inappropriate relationship with a coworker. She insisted that it was never physical. She made numerous promises and apologies. Before coming here, I had never heard the term trickle truth, but I feel I was served a steaming bowl of it, with a side of blame shifting. She wanted to do something with us. She urged us to go to counseling. I trusted her, or at the very least, I chose to believe her. My emotions and mind were not on the same page. We spent a couple weeks in MC. That made her feel uneasy, because the counselor asked some probing questions regarding the I believe she, like me, suspected there was more to it. She gave up after 4 sessions. However, we appeared to be doing better. It was almost as if I had resurrected my ex-wife. I was overjoyed and resolved to put all of my unsubstantiated suspicions to rest. This lasted around 6 months before the cycle began again. She checked all the boxes once more, like she had before. I confronted her twice about it. She dismissed it as stress on her part or immaturity on my behalf, a favorite thing for her to throw in my face throughout the relationship due to our age difference. Our intimacy ceased as she lost interest in it and in me. Then something happened. When I arrived home, she was already there. She was sobbing as she sat on our bed. I sat with her and pleaded with her, even begged her, to talk to me. She informed me that she was expecting a child. I was ecstatic for a little minute. Then my brain started working. I then realized how long it had been since we had had intimate moments. I could tell by the look on her face. I inquired as to how far she was along. It takes 8 weeks. We hadn't had an encounter in almost 4 months. I stood up and exited the room. She chased after me. Looking back and comparing the subsequent chat to the tales of people's experiences on this particular subforum, I am astounded at how WS all say the same things. It was only that one time. It had no significance. I've always loved you. That last one hurts the most out of all the lies they tell. I informed her that I was leaving the house and would return in an hour. Then I'd pay attention to what she had to say. I was shaking, enraged, and in all honesty, if I had stayed, it would not have ended well for either of us. I drove to an empty parking lot and sobbed uncontrollably. I believe I mean that literally because something within me broke during that hour. My heart stopped beating. It solidified into ice. It has remained so to this day. When I returned home, I felt cold and emotionless. I didn't have to be a gray stone. In reality, I had become one. She insisted that we could get through this. She could see how thrilled I was when she told me first, before I comprehended. She made a remark about how we wanted to start a family. She yelled at me about the baby's purity and how he or she would require a father. This went on for over 20 minutes as I sat in complete and emotionless silence staring at her. Finally, she glanced at me and asked if I could say something. I told her she is requesting reconciliation, but practically everything she says to me is a lie. I told her that if she wants me to even consider it, she has to start by telling me the truth. The version of the tale I was informed after that was that it had always been the same AP, even compared to the previous year. It was always and only about the physical. She never had feelings for him. She adored me. He is not interested in anything other than a physical relationship with her. He is putting pressure on her to end the pregnancy. She is adamantly opposed. She desired a family, and she desired it with me. I informed her that our marriage was over. It's been over for a year and a half, yet I'm only now learning about it. I told her to pack whatever she needed for 3 days and to leave the house as soon as possible. I told her I'd see her in 3 days to discuss the next steps. She was adamant about staying. She kept attempting to communicate with me. Normally, her cries would have shattered my resolve, but I didn't feel anything when I gazed at her that night. The loving part of me had died. I entered the guest bedroom and shut the door. I spoke with several lawyers the next day and hired one of them. The child's paternity was more than enough evidence for an at-fault divorce. I didn't want to wait so long, so we talked about uncontested and mediation. She genuinely tried to initiate with me when I got home. I was both surprised and horrified. That would never happen again, I promised her. We came to an agreement on a divorce plan. Our house was our most valuable asset. Her college loan accounted for the majority of our debt. I relinquished my ownership interest in the house so that she might sell it. I wanted her to have the money because she was going to keep the baby. I wanted nothing more than to be free. In the end, I only kept my Jeep and a military sea bag full of clothes, as well as a few tools, pistols, and military keepsakes. The majority of the items were mine prior to our marriage. To me, everything in that house, everything she had touched, was polluted. I wanted nothing more than to put this marriage behind me. After 13 months, the divorce was finalized. During the mediation, I saw her twice. We didn't say much. She was heavily pregnant at the time. I expected it to be difficult to see, but I felt nothing for her. There is no love, no hatred, nothing. She was a complete stranger to me. I relocated to Florida and accepted a position as an unpaid but overworked federal servant. I currently live a very basic life. On the Gulf Coast, I purchased and restored a little house. I got a boat and spend practically every weekend fishing. I have few friends and have dated only a few times. I'm having trust concerns right now. I'm not very fond of other people's company. I'm skeptical of women's attentions, especially those I'm attracted to. I'm now 27 years old. I'm in good physical shape, and some girls find me appealing. But I don't think I'm capable of having an intimate relationship with someone and trusting them on that level. Not for a long time at least. In practically every sense, I am the polar opposite of the man I used to be. Stormy, a cheerful black Labrador retriever, has my undivided attention right now. She accompanies me practically everywhere. I'm not overjoyed. I still get emotional when something reminds me of my ex and all that transpired. I still have a profound and overwhelming sense of loss at times. I know I haven't lost anything since I didn't have anything to lose, but I can't help but feel this way. The best part about my job is that I mostly work alone and outside, and I can frequently bring my dog to work with me. Even if I haven't found happiness in my divorced life, I have found peace. That's fine with me. Last week, the past I thought I'd buried 2 years ago resurfaced. She dialed my phone number. I'm not sure how she acquired my contact information. It couldn't have been too difficult. I wasn't exactly concealing myself. We talked for about an hour. It started out amicably, with her sounding as though she just wanted to check how I was doing and catch up. The call's underlying objective, though, was to feel me out about some type of reconnection. She had a healthy baby girl 2 years before. Because of the date, paternity was never in doubt. The AP was not present during his daughter's birth and has had minimal relationship with her. A single mother's life is difficult, and despite receiving assistance from the AP, for which she supposedly had to sue him, she was lonely and miserable. I told her that I was sad to hear she was upset, but that it was not my problem. She had crushed my heart, I told her, and it was still broken today. I informed her in as many terms as I could that I didn't love her, couldn't love anyone, and didn't want anything to do with her. She left me with only one option, to walk away from her. I requested that she not contact me again. The final thing that all of our stories on this sub have in common is that a selfish person made a selfish choice that harmed the lives of 3 people, one of whom had not yet been born. If there is one thing I wish I could help cheaters understand before they make this selfish decision, it is that they are hurting everyone around them, including their AP. However, if they are already selfish enough to cheat, they are unlikely to care